Hey everybody, Adam Savage here in my cave with a one-day build. It is Aldo's knife that we are making. Aldo, you don't know this, but my father wrote a book on perspective, on drawing in perspective. It is a little book. You can still find it on eBay from time to time. It's called Aldo's Doghouse, and it's about drawing in perspective. My father was a big fan in teaching people about how to draw in perspective, and he wrote this little book. All that is by way of saying that today I am building Aldo's knife, but it is not the same Aldo. It is Aldo Raine, Brad Pitt's character from Quentin Tarantino's film Inglourious Basterds. I have long wanted to make a replica of Aldo Raine's Bowie knife. And I've had the research in my computer for a long time. The main blade of the knife is this one. And it is a tricky one because it's a funny one. This is a particularly lovely profile of a Bowie. It's got a lot. If you go on to Google right now and search Bowie knife, you'll see a lot of the same characteristics of the shape, but very few knives that have this kind of jaunty. That's just a really lovely angle. It's a really lovely set of angles. It's a terrific shape. Anyway, the blank that they used for Aldo's knife was made by Smith & Wesson. It was called the Texas Hold'em knife, and you can still find them on eBay for really cheap. Sometimes they go for as little as 25 bucks. I found mine for about 70. It has a logo on both sides. But I am lucky here in the Bay Area that I live around the corner from one of the great knife shops in the United States. Seriously, Bernal Cutlery, B-E-R-N-A-L. I believe they have online a website. I cannot recommend their stuff enough. They have been sharpening my knives for the better part of a decade. My son, who is a line cook, a chef, he has knives from there. I have beautiful knives that I've been given from there. They're an amazing shop. They make and sell beautiful pieces, and they do incredible sharpening. And so I asked them to grind the logos off of both sides of this knife for me. And they did, and they also made it crazy sharp. So I'm going to be very careful with this. So this is the knife blank. And then the other part of Aldo Raine's knife, and here is the one of the stunt knives sold at auction a few years ago. And I took pictures from that auction, one side and then the other side. And I blew them up until they were the correct size. I think you'll see here. Yep, look at that. Oh, nothing makes me happier than one-to-one scaling on a printed sheet, man. So the big hurdle for me was finding this part. And I really looked carefully and closely at this. And the fact that there is so this is a raw antler end where it meets the head of whatever ungulate it's coming out of. The question for me was what kind of antler, because it didn't think it was deer antler, and I still don't think it is. I think it's elk antler. And I bought some elk antlers, but they were all too small. Like this. But this did have the telltale fork right at the base, whereas deer antlers had a fork but felt like a little higher. Look, I could be totally wrong about all this, but in the end, I found an Etsy store, and we'll have a link below. I found an Etsy store that made really nice replicas of Aldo Raine's knife. The only issue is I didn't like their blade blanks, which is fine. And rather than send them this one and have them make me one, I wanted to make my own. So I asked them and they agreed to send me a nice elk antler blank to use for my Aldo Raine knife. And I am really pleased. They sent me two. They were a reasonable deal. This is the one that's closer to me for my purposes. I've got some brass here and some pins and all sorts of goodness. And hell's bells, Margaret. We're going to get started on this lovely piece today. So one of the first things is that there's a lot of relationships here that are interrelated. And the first part is getting this correct. getting the antler end correct, because there's actually also like a 5-pointed star that's visible here, and I'm gonna wanna sand this sort of flat and smooth. It's gonna be a lot of some, I don't know if you've ever cut or sanded antlers, but it's bone and it smells like bone. It's not great. I'll be wearing a mask for much of this work. So because I've got the 1-to-1 scaling, I am going to be, marking this so that I get it, close, and then sort of refining the distances, and then refining the shape here, because my interface, this brass ferrule at underneath the guard, that brass ferrule is thin stuff. I've got some, what is this? Probably 20 thou? Let's see here. Yeah, 22. So this is about 0.5 millimeter thick. 0.5 millimeter. You love it when I do the fractional millimeters. This is about 20 thousandths thick. This will be the ferrule. The guard is actually much thicker. That will be this stuff. And then, funnily enough, it took me a long time of staring at this to realize that there's a pair of brass pins here. And that is interesting because the knife blank actually doesn't reach the second brass pin. So I think the second pin is simply cosmetic. I bought a long milling end mill. I bought a long end mill that is the thickness of my blade blank so that I can carve into here and make the slot that I need for the knife. So yeah, first steps first is I've got to figure out the exact shape of this handle. And then once I do that, I can start making the brass pieces around it. And, there's this actually really key thing that, like, these look like they were taken from head on, but actually in this picture, I can tell I'm looking from about like the center of the picture is probably here, and I'm looking this way. And then on this one, the center of the picture was over here. So this is just the kind of parallaxing you always have to worry about when you've got reference material, is where is the parallaxing giving you a false dimension and where is it giving you a real dimension? And look, it's all of a piece. This blade is too shiny. And so one of the other things I'll do once I have the pieces in orientation is I'm going to be rusting this and then removing the rust from it in order to get the blade a little darker and more pitted and more messed up, because I want it to feel like an old blade. Yeah, let's get started. Right, okay, so I'm going to smooth that first. I could see some of the artifacts of the grinding on the original on mine, right? Like, you can see, even though this is a paint job, because this is a stump knife, you can see, yeah, there's some cool stuff going on there. It's never going to be perfectly exact, this angle, but we're getting it close enough. Blah, blah, it smells so bad. I think I've got the shape mostly where I want it. Again, I'm splitting the difference between this view and this view. I love the fact that, like, here, I can see this dark part, which is where you've gone past the bone into the marrow of the antler. Like, that's visible. It makes me very pleased. Also, frankly, from a gripping standpoint, it's a big knife. It's a knife. It's not a knife. It's a knife. Yeah. Yeah, it's a substantial grab. I think, yeah. I mean, I wish the angle and the really close. So the next step for this is to chuck this into the mill, with this being, you know, getting this exactly where I want it, milling it flat, and then milling in the slot to receive, boop, boop, this guy. Once I have that, then I can start to work on the brass. I'll do the guard first, and I'll mill a slot in the guard. And once I have a slot in the guard will help inform how the ferrule goes. Yeah, I'm feeling optimistic about getting this done today. Okay, so if that's the case, let's try that. All right, I've done the best I can to kind of get the angles here correct. So now I'm going to try chucking this into the mill so that I can get yep, lovely little file there. Okay, so great. Interesting. All right. Okay. Good. Come on over here. Sorry. So I've chucked this in, and I was so nervous about getting the dimensions wrong in cutting into this that I forgot to press play. Record. So what I've got is, I've got the bone handle, I've measured its straightness and its angle, and I've adjusted the vise for the angle that I want. I have cleared away enough material, hopefully, for this tang. It's what the astronauts are drinking. It's always nerve-wracking to take something out of the mill, but here we go. There we go. We've taken something out of the mill. Okay, it's tight. That's what I was hoping. I'm going to tape up this edge. Oh, much better. Now I feel much safer. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm just going to round these edges a little bit because I don't need those to be perfectly crisp. Wait a second. There was some dust at the bottom of this. I got rid of it. There we go. Now it reaches to the bottom. It's a good grab. Oh, we're getting close. That's great. Dude. All right. Dude, there we go. Dude. Yeah, I am very pleased with that. All right, so great. So now I'm gonna mill a slot for the guard. Yeah, I'm gonna mill a slot for the guard. And the slot is gonna, yeah. So, let's see. Yeah, let's do this. Cut that off. Oh, not long enough. Ha! Not long enough error. All right. If I want it to be long enough. So buttons. You know, I've got a little room to move there. I'm going to cut this out first, make it fit this, and then I'll put this together with the knife, with the handle, and make it all work. very pleased with that. All right, so I'm gonna just widen this out a little bit. Oh, hey, sorry about that. Try that. Let's see here. There we go. I've machined a little pocket to receive the blade. Hopefully it will help the blade seat. Excellent. Oh, I love it. I'm very happy with how that is. Yeah, that's great. All right, so now I've got that and I've got that. Right. Yes. Yep, I need to take off, well, yeah, tiny bit of that back. Great, great. All right, so I'm happy with how this is all seating. So the next step is to add in this guy, this wraparound. Yeah. And then solder them together. Definitely the trickiest part. So what I'm planning to do here is I'm planning to bend this all around, solder it so that it fits nicely on this, then cut out the here that's on the that shape. I'm not going to worry about the shape until after I've got it like properly seated on this, and I feel like it's gonna stay. Pleased with this. I've got it's a nice, I can still refine that later. And there'll be some epoxy going on. Ooh, packages. Sorry. Oh, Gilly. Sorry. Let's see how this is all shaping up. It's okay. I think I got to do it the other side. Yep. Bellissimo, that's it. So, yeah, this has an orientation. So now what I want to do is I want to, yeah, that's going to be about where that is. I'm going to want to cut out the shape. The shape. That shape. Oh, that's the next part. All right, let's refine that shape. There it is. So now I want to put a piece in there. Yep. Nice. Very happy. So I've got my little plate that goes here. I will get those going. Yeah. With some brazing. And we'll get this into its final form. Okay. Great. All right. We are going to clean this off. Solder it. Sorry, braze. Nope, that didn't work at all. Oh, it's because I was doing the wrong flux because I'm a dummy. All right. Hi. How many ways can I mess this up? Many. So just before I do that, let me see if I can get this actually going. Okay, I think I've butchered it enough to make a reasonable meal out of this. Let's get this cooled down, and then we'll make sure it can receive. Ooh, Nelly! Seats right up in there. Yeah, and then. Yep. All right. That's great. I am not joining this to this. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm really pleased with how that's coming along. All right. So, yeah. Let's get that going. And we'll figure out the shape of the guard. Good. Let's That's the last bit of soldering. Yep. All right, let's get this guy cleaned up. I'm really getting happy with this. Time for some chemical. Oh, wait. Got to get the guard right. All right. So the last bit of brass construction is bending these ends up and out. Yeah, so let's get this one going over here on the vise. Here. If that's enough or too much, but I don't think it is. No, that's dead on. I love it. All right. So now we have the shape and right. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm just going to refine this a little bit on the sanders. Now, it's about the star pattern on the base of this. All right, so I see that I can carve this way farther down, which is great. And it's a little bit, yeah. Okay. Oh, a little bit work to do. These guys are looking beautiful. I'm really happy with how these are looking. Yeah. All right, so a little more work on this guy. Better. I am using rust remover to darken this blade because that's what the rust remover does. It tends to darken it a bit.
Always good to shift your perspective to make a last pass, just to make sure that your lines are all as crispy as you think they are. Hard not to be pleased with that. Let's get a little bit of polish on there and see what we can't make work. Ah! Ha ha! Ha ha! Look at that. That is literally just some brown rouge on the pattern I just cut out, and I don't think I could do much better than that. I just hopefully annealed the back end of this because my brass pin needs to go through there. The brass pin isn't going to be doing most of the heavy lifting on holding this knife into the handle, but it is going to be doing something. In order to get the brass pin in the exact right location, I am going to clamp this down really well. Then I'm going to drill a hole here with the mill, and without moving it, I'm going to hammer the handle on and sink the pin between the two. Yeah, it's going to be a thing. Okay, 0, 0, excellent. I'm holding onto this knife as hard as I can because I'm going to be gluing it and drilling the pin all at once. I didn't say it was going to be easy, but yeah, I'm doing it all at once. So that means that when I go to hammer this part on, I need it to seat and not move the knife. Yeah. So let me show you the setup. That's the hole that the pin is going to go through. That's correct to the prop. And as you can see, the drill bit goes cleanly through that. So what I want is when I put this part on and give it a little wacky poo, whack, that it does not move that hole, because if it does, I'm in trouble. I am clamping the knife between plywood here, and also I'm clamping its tip here with a screw jack and a clamp down. Here's hoping. I know, crossing my fingers? I'm not superstitious. I'm still crossing my fingers. For this, I'm using JB Quick Weld, 5 minutes setting, 1 hour to curing. It's just what I want. Mix it up real well. First, there's this guy. Then okay, and then that feels like it's seated, babe. Hi. All right, here we go. Also, I didn't feel it move here at all. So, there it goes. Excellent. Awesome. All right, I need a little bit of paper. Oh, yeah, here we go. This I'll put here. And I need that screw jack quickly is what's happening here. All right. Yeah. Getting some epoxy in there and getting this going. Here we go. I'm trying to think if I've messed anything up, right? Like, did I get anything critically wrong? The blade is facing this way. The pattern is good. I'm not leaking epoxy from anywhere. I've got a seat. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Yeah. Yes, there is a second brass pin, but that's easy to put in. That's like trivial. For right now, I'm going to clean up a bit because it's a reasonable time to clean up now that everything is... Could I be almost finished with this? I mean, I want to... Yeah, I might be almost finished. It's only 3 o'clock. It's just totally amazing. I might even do a show and tell today. I got a new toy. I leave the epoxy here so that I can tell when it's set. Then I can start to pull things apart and take a look at them. The tape really does seem to be protecting as much as it can. Great. Everything seems to have worked. Let's it's a big knife. And grind off these pins here. That's the grinder pass. So what I'm doing here is I'm just attempting to tie it together. I'm just attempting to add a little movie dirt and, you know, just try and make it look more like a cohesive whole. And I think I've achieved that mostly. I've achieved my goal today, which was Aldo Raine's knife from Inglourious Basterds. Yes. I really thought that was going to be a 2-day build, but lo, it was a 1-day build. That is a rarity. Thank you guys for joining me for this. Yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, so I'm glad to have finally achieved it. Also, I was really impressed with how well the chisel did on the antler handle. Yeah, in every way, I am super pleased. Okay. There's one thing, if I had my druthers, if I was doing this again, I'd make this narrower. I'd have this come in a little bit because if you handed me this, I'd feel like I wanted I'd want some of that. But that's literally something that no one's ever going to notice unless they're handling this. And that's mostly me. So who knows? Maybe someday I will make a second one. But for right now, I'm ecstatic. Thank you guys for joining me for this one-day build. And I will see you next time. Coda. Of course I brought this home last night and I was like, staring at it on my desk, and I'm really, really happy with how this came out. I did a little bit of light acid staining on the blade, little paint treatment and some staining on the brass, and it feels like a thing. And then I was thinking, it feels like a thing. And I realized so many of my props are simulacrums of a thing. I don't have Hellboy's actual revolver. I have a rough approximation of what his revolver is. But in this, I took a blade with a tang, I embedded it in epoxy and a bone handle, drove a pin through. This isn't a simulacrum of a knife. This is an actual knife. Look, it may seem painfully obvious to you, but for me, just the frame is interestingly different enough that I was really pleased to realize, I've watched enough YouTube videos from knife makers to follow their best practices, many of them. I am sure if you are a regular knife maker, I did some things in this video that were tiring for you to sit through, or, you're pulling your hair out a little bit, but we all got to learn somewhere. Anyway, I just thought that was a fun coda. This is an actual thing, what is both an actual thing and a simulacrum of a thing at the same time. Have a good day.